During the Edo period, people were pushed to the extreme brink of near-cannibalism. In an era thought to be peaceful, why did such widespread starvation occur? Indeed, during the Tenmei Great Famine, the population of the Tohoku region drastically declined. Starving corpses littered the roads, survivors ate straw, and people transformed into demons roamed. But, in truth, this wasn't merely a consequence of bad weather. An even more shocking reality was hidden within the shogunate's policies and the social structure of the time. What exactly was the nature of this hellish reality? In this video, we will thoroughly explain the true causes of the famines, the shogunate's failures, the tragedy of people driven to the brink of cannibalism, and the lessons that remain relevant for modern society. Now, let us delve into the truth of that hell. In the main feature, we will also provide detailed explanations of the specific damage caused by each of the three great famines: Kyoho, Tenmei, and Tenpo. Throughout the Edo period, Japan was repeatedly struck by large-scale famines. Among these, particularly devastating were the four great famines: Kyoho, Tenmei, Kansei, and Tenpo. One of the root causes of these famines lay in the underdeveloped agricultural technology of the time. Crop improvement was slow, irrigation facilities were inadequate, making the nation highly vulnerable to climate change. Unpredictable weather conditions, such as cold weather damage, prolonged rains, and droughts, were direct triggers. Once a poor harvest occurred, it quickly led to nationwide food shortages. The first large-scale famine to strike Japan was the Kyoho Great Famine, which began in 1732. Particularly in western Japan, an immense outbreak of insect pests called plant hoppers occurred. The plant hoppers sucked the nutrients from rice plants, leading to the complete destruction of rice crops in many areas along the Seto Inland Sea. Starvation deaths followed one after another, and villages were driven to ruin. The shogunate attempted to release rice reserves and reduce taxes, but it couldn't cope with the widespread damage, and its efforts had limited effect. Rice prices soared, making food unattainable even for the poor in urban areas. People flowed from rural areas into cities in search of food, but the cities themselves were also in distress. The Kyoho famine eventually subsided, but during its course, it's estimated that hundreds of thousands died from starvation and disease. This brought to light the significant issue of Japan's vulnerable food supply. However, this major lesson was not adequately learned by the subsequent shogunate or society. So why did they repeat the same mistakes? Another aspect of the Kyoho famine was the significant impact of the economic policies of the time, known as the Kyoho reforms, on rural villages. These reforms promoted frugality and strictly enforced land tax collection. As a result, impoverished farmers, unable to survive, abandoned their land and migrated to cities. The very rural villages that should have been rice-producing areas suffered the most profound damage from the famine. Furthermore, taking advantage of the famine, merchants engaged in unscrupulous acts of hoarding rice and selling it at exorbitant prices. Starvation enriched the wealthy. The shogunate prohibited rice hoarding by decree, but controlling distribution was difficult, leading to rice riots erupting in various regions. People turned into mobs in search of food. And the famine brought further tragedy. Epidemics ravaged malnutrition-weakened bodies, further increasing the death toll. Starvation and disease were two sides of the same coin. The Kyoho famine brought not only starvation but also social contradictions, disparities, and a collapse of public morality. These lessons would become a precursor to the next great famine. Approximately 50 years after the Kyoho famine, the Tenmei Great Famine, 1782 to 1788, considered the worst in Japanese history, began. Once again, the Japanese archipelago became a living hell. The direct causes of the Tenmei famine were cold weather damage, combined with the catastrophic eruption of Mount Asama in 1783. Vast amounts of volcanic ash rained down over wide areas, inflicting devastating damage on crops. The Tohoku region, particularly Mutsu Province and Dua Province, suffered catastrophic damage. Records indicate that the population of Aomori Prefecture halved, and approximately 1/3 of Iwate Prefecture's population starved to death. People consumed roots of plants, tree bark, and even animal carcasses in an attempt to survive. Everything imaginable became food. And the most tragic were the reports of cannibalism. Though not officially acknowledged, eyewitness accounts emerged one after another across various regions. Shocking traces of this remain in the diaries and records of survivors. Parents sold their children, children abandoned their parents. An extreme state of moral collapse. People transformed into demons to survive, and human dignity was lost. Taking advantage of the famine's chaos, bandits ran rampant, and public order steadily deteriorated. Truly, a hell on earth spread across Japan. The shogunate attempted to import rice and provide relief, but due to disrupted distribution networks and mismanagement, it barely reached the affected areas. Measures were reactive and had limited impact. The Tenmei famine left deep scars on subsequent society and foreshadowed the end of the Edo period. Why was the shogunate unable to learn from this lesson? Approximately 50 years after the Tenmei famine, the Tempo Great Famine, 1833 to 1839, occurred. Cold weather damage, heavy rains, and floods were its primary causes. While the Tenpo famine was not as catastrophic as Tenmei, it still inflicted severe nationwide damage and claimed many lives. Learning from past experiences, the shogunate implemented measures such as strengthening the reserve rice system, promoting famine-resistant crops, and providing relief in cities. However, amidst the famine, in Osaka, the Ashio Haihakairo Rebellion, 1837, erupted, as former Yuriki Ashio Haihakairo rose up to save the common people. Although the rebellion was suppressed, it decisively deepened the chasm between the suffering populace and the shogunate, intensifying distrust in its governing capabilities. The shogunate's limitations were clear: a combination of slow information dissemination, weak regional governance, collusion with merchants, and chronic financial difficulties was intricately involved. Later historians would point out that the causes of the famines were not only natural disasters but also man-made disasters. The shogunate's land tax system also tormented farmers. Because there was a tendency to impose a fixed tax regardless of good or bad harvests, farmers quickly fell into destitution during poor harvests. Unable to save, they faced starvation. These great famines exposed the contradictions of the social structure and fueled public discontent. They served as a prelude to the tumultuous Bakumatsu period. Behind the glamorous culture that defined the Edo period, the four great famines were a dark shadow that constantly tormented the people. Their tragic memory was etched deep into history. But from this hellish experience, what did the people of that time learn, and what lessons did they find that connect to the present day? The true causes of the famines were not merely bad weather, but rather underdeveloped agricultural technology, inadequate infrastructure, and the shogunate's governance with its inherent limitations. Although the shogunate implemented countermeasures, it crucially lacked adequate management of reserves and distribution, and above all, empathy and prompt action for the common people. The tragedy of near-cannibalism vividly demonstrated the collapse of morality when people are driven to extreme conditions and the fragility of society. This dark history might be teaching us, who live in the modern age, the importance of food security, the proper approach to crisis management, and above all, the value of a compassionate spirit to help one another. The foundation of our peaceful modern society might be built upon the inexpressible memories of hell experienced by the people of Edo.